Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, I'm going to be going over my Spectral Throw Deadeye build I created in Crucible League as part of the BPL event. So I only played on this character for 4 days, got it to where it currently sits, and it has not been touched since then. So there's a lot that can be done to improve this character. So what you're going to get here is basically what you would get on kind of a league start build idea to get this character up and running. So this is a play on the good old Elemental Buzzsaw Spectral Throw build that has been known and loved for a long time. In this league, Spectral Throw got changed a little bit so that, like, at max range or whatnot, the tick rate on damage for each spectral throw to be able to hit an enemy was increased. So it has better single target damage if you can overlap a bunch of these blades on top of each other. I'll throw a map in, show you what's going on before I go through all of the gear and whatnot. The big thing going on here is I have no life regeneration. That is on purpose. So when I hit my blood rage, I'm degenerating life, and I'm running a pair of Tanu Ahi gloves so that when I fill my life from Life Leech, then I can get Onslaught and Adrenaline from that. That was kind of the big thing here with this to make this work. So I pop a blood rage, and in we go. My gear is absolutely abysmal on this, by the way. I have life on only 2 pieces of my gear, and this is a T16 map that I'm gonna do my best to throw myself through here. Like, you could have so much better than what I'm showcasing here. But we are going to just, like, pile through this map. It's going to kill things, and it's going to do it well. And I will show you a lot of little ways you can adjust this build more to the exact need that you might require as I go through the gear and stuff later. Like, this was for a, like, competitive team, like, race event, scavenger hunt kind of thing. So this build was made to be an insanely fast map clearer. I can go zoom all the way through this map like crazy speed if I wanted to, right? And we didn't have the full might of Trade League, and I didn't stop to, like, craft gear. So again, it is not perfect, and we'll go over it. But it does definitely get the job done. The map clear very, very fast as a Deadeye with the Spectral Throw. This is a build that I would absolutely recommend league starting in a new league. And since the Nightblade support got nerfed and all of the, like, elemental claw builds have kind of fallen out, and a lot more focus is on bow builds at the moment, it would be relatively easy, I think, to gear this build on a league start, as not as many people are going to be looking for the gear for a build like this. So that's something I always took into mind when trying to pick a league starter build, was I don't want to play the Righteous Fire build that half the server's going to be playing, so you have to, like, fight over the gear. The gear is more expensive if you're going to be playing the most meta thing on a league start. And here's the boss damage, dead boss, right? And it definitely can be way better. So if it's doing that good in its current state, like, there's a lot of potential here. So why do I say it can be better? This sword has T1 attack speed on it. I crafted crit chance. It has T3 flat cold damage and T5 flat lightning damage. And then it does have a crucible tree, which gives it a little bit of flat fire, but reducing the attack speed, so it's kind of a wash in the end. But what if you had T1 lightning, T1 cold, T1 fire with the attack speed, and then you have the crit chance? Like, absolutely decimates everything. if you do that. So then I have the Tanuahi gloves. As I mentioned, I got corrupted with elemental weakness to pair with the Cosprey's Will. Cosprey's Will gives me an additional curse without having to push for Whispers of Doom, and also gives me a bunch of Chaos Res, which I really like. I really like this chest. It's really good for building an evasion character, and I am running Grace and really juicing the amount of evasion I'm getting off of this. So I only have 3,400 life at level 97 because I only have life on 2 pieces of my gear. But I am spell suppression capped, and without flasks up, I have a 71% chance to evade over 20,000 evasion rating. With all my flasks up, it goes to 78%, 30k. So I have a lot of evasion. It's hard for me to get hit. If I get hit with spell damage, it's 100% suppression. So the 3,400 life is not too terribly bad. And then if you do something like throw in a Wellspring of Creation, so you give the monsters 50% more life and they do less damage, this build feels just like a solid super build. Okay, so something I have here is I'm using Abyssco's Leash. This is just for Rampage to speed me up in the maps. You could have a Stygian Vise here, you can get a bunch of life on that. I'm using a Rat's Nest. This is for attack speed and crit chance, a little bit of extra movement speed. You take a Blizzard Crown, give yourself a bunch of extra flat cold damage, and that stacks with all your other stuff, and sure, there you go. There's more life in there. Like, so there's lots you can do to improve it. My amulet doesn't have life on it. Getting crit multi is really all. Stack of damage with the taming rings, since I'm trying to shock, freeze, and ignite any enemy that I hit. These tamings will stack a ton of extra damage on the build. And then what else? Boots have movement speed, some resistances. I'm dropping Scorched Ground while moving, which even with the Whirling Blades, like Scorched Ground everywhere, that lowers enemy elemental resistances. My shield has life resistances, attack speed, and then Crucible tree on this was just a little bit of armor and some resistances. So nothing crazy. Like, this is all like easily can be made better. You have way better gear. But for gym links, I am using I currently have a Vol Spectral Throw. Ideally, you want a Divergent Spectral Throw. Divergent Spectral Throw quality gives you an additional projectile. So then you'd have 5 projectiles with this, and that would definitely be more ideal. I was not able to get that in those 4 days, so we don't have that. But I have elemental damage with attacks. I have Trinity. I have increased crit damage, I have added cold damage, and added lightning damage. So that's what I am running with. I could have a tornado in the build. I don't have that. Everything else is just, it's all built around, I just want a Spectral Throw and kill stuff. So I have Assassin's Mark with Mark on Hit so that I can get the Assassin's Mark on rare enemies, and then it's qualityed up so I have the 5% chance to get power charge when I hit those enemies, and then I'll guaranteed get a power charge when those enemies die. So that's my only power charge generation I have. I have a Cast on Death portal in case my low life build dies. I have a Frost Blink in line with my Whirling Blades, so if I need to go up down a ledge, I can with the Frost Blink. Over here I have a Blood Rage, which I need to degen my life with my no life regens so that the Tanuahi gloves can work. I have an Ancestral Protector. I can place this down for bosses. This gives me 20% more attack speed, as if I needed it with my Gale Force and the Onslaught and Adrenaline from this. It's stupid amount of attack speed. I'm running Herald of Ice so that I can shatter things and do extra damage with that. Got my Whirling Blades. I have an Ice Golem that I can use for some extra accuracy, crit chance. Steel Skin is extra survivability. When that is up, it removes bleeds. I have an Enduring Cry to gain endurance charges, extra survivability there. I'm running Grace, and I have a maxed out Precision, giving me extra crit chance and a big source of accuracy since I'm using the taming rings. Can't really get accuracy on my rings and other stuff. And like this amulet, the belt, the helmet can easily be replaced to give you a much more survivable character, but it gets it done. So now, looking at this passive tree, the big thing with regard to this build is the multi-shot node here. This gives attacks fire additional projectile with this, and then being a Deadeye, getting endless munitions for 2 additional projectiles, plus the Divergent Spectral Throw gets you 5 projectiles without the need for a GMP, LMP, anything like that. So I'm also getting Far Shot here. So the farther my projectiles go, the more damage they will do. Like the big idea, right, is that you want to hit enemies at the end of the projectile's movement. So if I throw a bunch of these out here, you see how they kind of stack up at the end? That's slow at the end of the projectile where it comes to a stop. You want your single target enemy to be in that location so that they continually take the ticks of damage from the spectral throw, and the tick rate on the damage at that like max distance went up. So single target on this build actually got buffed in Crucible League, so it feels really nice. Other things I have here, I've got Gathering Winds, so this gets me Tailwind. So every time I use this skill, it doesn't matter what the skill is, I'm gaining Gale Force, and that increases my attack speed, which is why like my mana is an issue in the hideout because I don't have my mana leech, right? So I can't just like fully like get everything going on here. And then I have Focal Point, increased effective marks, so I get extra power charge, extra crit, multi-crit chance from that, and then less damage taken from other enemies near the marked enemy. So that increases survivability as well. There is the idea for going for Wind Ward, but you lose all Gale Force when you get hit, so you lose all your Tailwind stacks if you take Wind Ward. I think Focal Point's pretty solid line of defense there. So running through the passive tree, I got all the projectile damage here at the start. Grab Ballistics, grab Primal Spirit. This is for strength and intelligence, as well as the mana. Pushing down through Heart of Oak for life. Finesse gives accuracy, attack speed. Get a bunch of movement speed and spell suppression, going through Quick Step to get to intuition. So lots of spell suppression, lots of evasion stuff there. Going up, grab Charisma for mana reservation efficiency. This opens up some more mana you have to play with. Come over here to get Forces of Nature. Attack damage penetrates 10% elemental resistances. Revenge of the Hunted is more life, spell suppression on full life. And I'm getting 15% spell suppression if helmet, body armor, gloves, boots all have evasion rating, which it does. So that's an extra 15 spell suppression there. Prowess for extra strength. Then yes, I got all of these notes for multi-shot, and then monsters cannot block your attacks, so you're gonna deal damage, and the attack mastery is very, very strong. I grabbed spell suppression for Inveterate, grabbed crit chance and multi and Heart Seeker, extra crit multi against unique enemies on the mastery, grabbed an extra frenzy charge. I have a Watcher's Eye that has crit multi while affected by precision, attack speed and accuracy and acuity. I have Herbalism for life and 15% increased maximum life if there are no life modifiers on equipped body armor. There are no life mods on Cosprey's Will, so finally we have a way to get some extra life while using this chest piece. This is very, very cool. Finally, we're able to do that. So this life mastery, just tacks that on 15% life using this chest. Very nice. Down here, I have in the sword wheel, I took the crit chance and the crit multi. Down here, Fatal Blade. There is extra damage there if you want it, but this is kind of block focused things. So I went down. Proverbial Force gives extra elemental damage. Lethality, projectile attack skills have increased crit chance and multiplier. Entrench gives spell suppression. Life flasks gain charges when you suppress spell damage. Long Shot here gives increased projectile speed, and the projectile mastery I'm taking here is less projectile speed. So this is pretty important, and I will show some things here with this here in a minute. I also grabbed Thick Skin here. This is more life. Grab Culling Strike against marked enemies unmarked for death. Marked enemy cannot regenerate life. Up here, Critical Strike chance against blinded enemies. Chance to blind enemies on hit. When you're stacking lots of evasion rating, blinding enemies is really good because it kind of doubles down on you being able to evade their attacks. And an extra Critical Strike chance against blinded enemies. And then I grabbed Beef and Wisdom of the Glade for strength and intelligence to get everything equipped. Lastly, just going up into the shadow bit, grabbed Mark of the Prey. Marked enemy has reduced accuracy rating, takes increased damage, and here I'm getting a chance to gain Frenzy Charge when you hit a marked enemy. So while I'm fighting a boss, I can't get Frenzy Charges from Blood Rage. That is my Frenzy Charge generation against a single target. And then I have Life and Mana gain on hit, life mana leech with Clever Thief, and increase total recovery per second from life mana or energy shield leech here. So like you want to fill that if you're going to be needing to leech. Grab Blood Drinker with the 50 flat life and the mastery, recover life on kill. More accuracy here with crit chance into depth perception. And then I grabbed an extra power charge, grabbed an extra frenzy charge, and then here I have some all-res damage with one-handed weapons and evasion rating. Nothing super special on that jewel. Anointed Throat Seeker for another 30 crit multi. So, coming back down here for long shot. So, I've mentioned that at this max range where they slow and stop, that's where your best chance to deal damage to a single target is. But when you have too much projectile speed and you're throwing these projectiles off your screen, you really can't get the enemy to stay in that zone. So that's why the less projectile speed is here. And it is really easy to, like, I actually want to lower the projectile speed more, and I don't want long shot, and then we'll just do the same thing. This is more of a single target setup. So now, like, the range at which I need my enemy to be in is much closer to me, right? So I don't have to throw at a rare enemy or unique off screen to get the max amount of damage, which is the idea by reducing your projectile speed here, whereas increased. So you can adjust this to how it works best for you. Maybe like faster projectiles is better for clearing the map like I just did. But for a boss, I'm going to throw in this Screaming Invitation that I happen to find, and we'll see how this goes with my garbage gear and whatnot. Put this down. I need to not get hit by stuff. But you see how I'm getting those projectiles down like on top of the boss so that it kind of sits there. Yeah, spell suppression, I took that hit. But like at the same time, like I was too far away from the enemy for a second there. So it's kind of a fine line where you want your projectile speed to be at. But the damage is so solid with such garbage gear. Like, I definitely didn't get to play on this build as much as I would have liked. And then I need to pop the Blood Rage, so that, like, that's how I'm getting the Onslaught and Adrenaline to really juice things up. You gotta be able to leech life to do it. Turn on the Blood Rage, and so you can see the Adrenaline and Onslaught popping up there from time to time. So you get so much speed, as long as you can get the life leech to stay up. So I might be a little bit too low for this particular boss on the projectile speed, because I'm struggling a little bit to quite dial it in. But when it works, it's in there. It does some damage. Oh, and I die. Rip. Go back in and we'll finish it off. I can definitely get this in 6 portals. You get so much speed with all the frenzy charges and everything. But yeah, you get right there in that little range, and yeah, the damage just rips. Oh, and I'll remind you all just one more time. T5 lightning damage, T3 cold damage. That's what this weapon is. Like, that weapon is so bad. Oh, come on. Yes, got it. Done. Boss dead. Like, I think that's pretty solid. And definitely would recommend this one on a league start. Very good. Like, if you need it to be more defensive, like, there's definitely ways to build around it so that it's not this crazy map clear spec. But that is going to be all for this video. I'd like to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, definitely hit the like button, as it really helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss more videos from me. If you'd like to help support my channel, please consider using the super thanks, the heart icon just below the video, or by joining to become a member, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.